Good evening. I'm Kristen Welker. I'm a completely impartial journalist. However, I've been accused of being partisan, which I am not. So get over it. Journalism is cool, and it's cool to be a journalist, and it's cool to be part of the media. The media is not your enemy. Tonight, we're welcoming to this stage the current president of the United States and the Democratic nominee for president. So, will you join me in welcoming Donald Trump? Or not. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. Look at me. Look at me. This is unfair. This is totally unfair. You guys... do you mind telling us what is unfair about it? You guys are having me not able to talk the entire time. I'm supposed to talk the entire time. As you know, that I just need to continue to talk the whole time. And if anyone else talks, then that's not fair. That's totally fair if anyone else is allowed to talk. So whatever you do, you better not mute my... We've muted the president's microphone currently because he somehow does not have the ability to stop yapping. So join me in welcoming Popeye Joe Biden. Hey there, everybody. What's going on over there? How are you? I'm Popeye Joe Biden. I tell you, I'll knock your socks off. I'm serious. I'll take you behind the barn and teach you one thing or two about one or two things. ABC. I'll teach you the ABCs. The A is for my fist. A stands for my fist. I'm gonna fist you. I'm gonna give you a fistula. That's not accurate. That's not entirely accurate. Is my mic on? Is this thing on? Hello? Hello, I'm the president. I'm the current president, which means I'm allowed to talk this whole time. What's going on over there? Ron Perty TV. What is this malarkey going on? Hey, everybody there on Instagram. If you're just joining us, this is the Aristotle Full Throttle program, and we do whatever the heck we want over here. We mostly talk about movies, and we mostly kick this guy in the keister. I'm serious. I'm going to take this guy behind the bleachers, underneath the bleachers, and I'm going to wring his neck 2 ways from Sunday. I'll tell you, I'll tackle. Hey, Jen the Fierce. It's me, Popeye Joe. No, Popeye Joe's not allowed to talk. I'm supposed to talk the whole time. That's really kind of the whole point, right? Hey, Acosta Elliott 89, you trying to join the video feed? You're gonna have to ask in advance for that because I'm not set up for that. Acosta Elliott 89. I'm not currently set up for that. I would like to share your dialogue with people here, but wait a second. This isn't my show, is it? No, this is the Aristotle Full Throttle program. We talk about movies. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about politics, actually. We talk about... I'm serious. Really. Serious. There's no malarkey on this show. Mostly it's malarkey, actually. It's really mostly malarkey. Hey, everyone. I hate to interrupt this wonderful chat that we're having, this civil debate between the current president, who does not know how to shut up, and Popeye Joe. I tell you, if I didn't have this liquid confidence in this flask below, I wouldn't know how to put up with this, quite frankly. So guys, gather around the fire, because today we're going to talk about... What are we going to talk about? Oh! Hey! There seems to be a zombie right here. Ah! There are zombies. Zombies abound. This is If you guys weren't startled enough by the oddness and the strangeness of today's current world, it does feel like we are living in a zombie apocalypse. If you guys are ready for tonight's debate, I suggest... well, if you're not ready for tonight's debate, I suggest you grab yourself a bat flask of your own, because you're going to be in for a zombie apocalypse. There's going to be zombies everywhere. Oh no, guys. Oh, good golly. Good golly.
It is very strange. It is an odd reality in which we live. There's nothing that seems as if it were real. There's a scourge upon humanity. Currently, the coronavirus is infecting people all across the planet, but the president seems to deny this fact. He seems to be too tired to deal with things. It is not so. We must charge forward with clear leadership, and that is why we bring you this show. It's the Aristotle Full Throttle program. It is a, it's an influencer type of platform. It's an opinion-based show, mostly about entertainment, but usually about social issues and things of that nature. So let's get on with it, shall we?
Hey, everybody. What's up? That was some of the openings. Some of them are rough. Like this one's rough. What's up, E Riddler on Instagram? This is the Aristotle Full Throttle program, and we're trying to avoid the zombie apocalypse. Today we're talking about zombie movies. We talk about movies mostly every day with our friends Ron Pertee and Jen the Fierce. Jen the Fierce edits these down to about 10 minutes on my channel, so if you guys don't want to tolerate the full hour, I don't blame you. You could go check out the abridged version of these shows. She toils and works feverishly to bring you a condensed version, the condensed milk version of the show. Condensed milk, you ever put that on your ice cream? Have you ever had an ice cream? Guys, welcome. There is, as always, a fundraiser on Instagram. If you guys want to donate to the ACLU, you can do that on Instagram. You can do that on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. I'm sure there are people somewhere watching. There's a higher number of viewers than there are commenters, but if you don't feel it in you to comment or to take part of the discussion and you just want to listen along, that's cool. I just urge you to like the video. If you can go ahead and press the like button, that would really help it boost, elevate. The algorithms will pick this show up a little bit more, and people may hear a voice that they don't hear from often, which is a dude with a giant fro who is not a white dude. Because mostly everybody on TV talking is like, hi, listen to me, everything I say is important, because I was born rich, and now I'm in power, and I happen to be of the ruling class. So you must listen to what I have to say. It's always... And this is funny, because there are people, though, the media, and people like Kamala Harris are actually like, hey, why don't you shut the F up when I'm talking, okay? Because... that's a pent-up frustration that people of color, I think, in this country, and particularly women of color in this country, have. There's like, there's a man speaking. In particular, there's a white, rich guy speaking. We should, there's like this air of privilege that goes with that. And, I think there's like a collective fed-upness in society against that, because we're all equal. If one person's speaking, the other person should maybe listen. And that's what hopefully they'll do tonight. I doubt it, guys. If you are tuning in just to get warmed up for the debate, maybe this might roll over into the debate, and we might watch a little bit of the debate and chat about it right here, live on Aristotle Full Throttle. We'll get into it. But first, we got to talk about zombie movies, because we like to have fun. We talk about stuff like that. What's your favorite zombie movie, Jen the Fierce? I like 28 Days Later. George Romero, his movies were good. He did a lot of good zombie movies. He kind of invented the genre. Why is it that zombies are just another dead thing? Why are humans just afraid of the dead coming back to life? Because that's all of the things. Dracula's, they never died. Frankenstein's are dead and they got reanimated. The mummy's been dead for 2,000 years and it comes back to life. Zombies, dead people coming back to life. That seems to be the primal fear, starring Ed Norton, of all of the major fears that people have. Right? All of the things, except for aliens. We were talking about alien invasions yesterday, if you guys want to catch up on that. But first, might I remind you, I'm having a giveaway. Once we reach 10,000 subscribers on any of the platforms, if we do that first, if we reach 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away, what is it, Biden? I'm gonna give you a knuckle sandwich. That's what I'm serious. That's no malarkey. I'll tell you that for sure. You know something? I just want to say something. I might smoke a pipe, but my son has battled addiction. He smoked a different kind of pipe. Listen, but I love my son. I just want to say that I love my son, and that addiction is no laughing matter. Addiction is not something you should shame a person for. You should welcome them with love and try to help them out of their addiction. You should shower these people that you care about with love and attention and tell them that you're there for them. You shouldn't shame them for that. I'm going to say tonight, I'm serious. I really mean it. Tonight I'm going to tell everybody how much I love my son. And I'm going to ask Donald Trump if he could say the same about his kids. Probably not. Can you guys imagine that? Can you guys imagine that giant knucklehead, that beef-eating sandwich-faced guy, that open-faced sandwich, French dip, malarkey sandwich that guy is? Could you imagine him saying that he loves those kids? Could you imagine that? I can't imagine that. I mean it. I'm serious. That guy doesn't love his kids at all. He's incapable of loving anything but himself. But you know what else I love? Movies. Zombie movies. You guys want to talk about zombie movies? Here, you're in the right place. Say, zombie movies. There's a movie written by Alex Garland called 28 Days Later, directed by Danny Boyle. We were talking about that yesterday. Danny Boyle comes up a lot on the show. He's an Irishman. And that's no malarkey. Oh boy. Thank you for those words, Mr. Biden. Papa Joe Biden. Always here to support his kids and support the Aristotle Full Throttle program. Oh yeah, but he forgot to tell us what you're going to win. You guys are going to win. You're going to win a Sony Playhouse 15 if you subscribe. If you subscribe and comment below, make sure that you're commenting on these videos. Make sure that you're participating. And Aristotle Full Throttle is going to... I'm serious. This is for real. Aristotle Full Throttle is going to give away a Sony Playhouse 15. Some of you might call it a PS5. I'm going to call it a Play. I'm going to call it whatever I want to call it. I'll take you behind the school bus and open the emergency school bus door. Remember the emergency school bus? Remember that door? Didn't you just always want to pull that lever and just hop out the back in the school bus? Well, I'm going to knock you out the back of your school bus, caboose, if I ever see you around here these parts anymore. I'm serious. Well, I would take it from Mr. Joe Biden. Don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but it's not a zombie film. What are you talking about, Ron Pertee? 28 Days Later is not a zombie film? What is it then? Is it a running film? A running of the dead film? Why isn't it a zombie film? They get infected and then they run. Are zombies supposed to just amble slowly towards you and you're supposed to be like, well, I would be terrified of the zombie if it could catch me. I like that the zombies just, you instantly turn to a zombie. Same here, Ron Pertee. I did stop watching Walking Dead after season 4. Actually, I could not watch more than 2 episodes in a row because I would just get, it was so much of this. It, like, Walking Dead was this. It was just a bunch of people having a drama, having a soap opera situation. They'd be like, oh, whoa. Oh, I forget what the kid's name was, but Carl. Speaking of Carl. Oh, man, we got to hear. What's up, everybody? I'm Carl Weathers, and this is the Carl Weathers Report. This is the Carl Weathers Predator Weathers Report, featuring Cardi B and the Action Jackson AccuPredator Weathers Forecast. Welcome. My name is Carl, just like the kid from the TV show Walking Dead. Hey, Candyland. You know, I was listening to my own voice the other day, and it's actually up here. My voice is up here. It's more up here. Aristotle Full Throttle's impression is not accurate, but it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It's not perfectly accurate. You guys realize that play the same character in Happy Gilmore that I played in Predator. I just got my arm shot off. And then I lampooned myself. I harpooned myself. Well, Carl, so on The Walking Dead, they would just have the kid. They'd be like, Carl, because the guy was, I think he's English, and he was playing a Southern guy. Carl, Rick, Carl. That's how I remember this. Rick, Carl, Rick, Carl. Shotgun blast. Where were we? It got really tiresome. It was pretty cool. It was pretty scary that first season. Season 1 was great. Season 2, I like that they got the blue meth from that carried over from Breaking Bad. Guys, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but my TV is larger. I enhanced the screen. I made it much larger. I blew the TV up because I want you to see what I'm looking at. We're looking at zombie movies, guys. All these zombie movies. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So let's see. What is your opinion on that, Ron Pertee and Condyland and Jen the Fierce? Let me catch up on some of these comments here. You stopped watching, yes, pretty much. Coral. You vampires are way more attractive than zombies. That depends. If you think about the vampires that were like kind of ripped apart and stuff in what was that one? Blade 2? Guillermo del Toro's Blade, where all the vampires are like really disgusting and gross, and then they've got the Reaper vampires with the vampires for vampires. There's always a bigger fish, right? We learned that from watching Star Wars Episode 1. Vampires are way more attractive. Depend. I mean, if you're talking about those vampires, I got a story for you. For the record, I don't like zombie movies when they run fast. That's fine, Ron. But that actually pertains to the story I want to tell right now. But Jake A says, that's when we stopped watching, when Coral exited the show. Coral. Uh-oh. I feel like Coral might have died. I haven't seen that much. I don't know. Maybe that's a spoiler alert. I was on season 4, almost done with season 4, and there's just a lot of that, and a lot of people like, why did you put too much mayonnaise on my sandwich? I can't believe that we're just having this petty discussion about whatever interpersonal relationships while we're getting attacked by zombies. Anyway, where was I? That was mostly what the show was about. For me. Jen the Fierce says, noted Ron Pertee. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the story I want to tell. Sounded like Coral to me. Coral. I think that Rick was eating his face for most of it when he was trying to say his kid's name. He was like in the hospital holding his kid, and he was like, I'm going to name him Coral. It's just Will. That's a question. It's a statement. It's an answer. It's all of the above. Is this Will? I was like, that's an interesting name for a kid. Nice work on the TV upgrade. Thank you. I made it larger. It's large now. Chardonnay, how do you feel about the new size of this TV? Chardonnay approves. We go to Chardonnay we go to him for like the sudden death for the tiebreaker. Chardonnay is there to overrule, or he's there to approve or veto whatever news happens for the show. Spoilers, the show is almost dead. Well, here's the story I want to tell. And it's actually a story from John Landis. You know, film director, also negligent murderer, John Landis. You guys can Google that if you want. But he ended up killing a few people. John Landis. I actually know his son, Max. I did a photo spread for a magazine of Max Landis once. No comment. Let me just say something. John Landis said this. What are the ways you kill a vampire? Well, that's easy. You sunlight, holy water, stake through the heart. Easy, right? And John Landis is like, no, wrong. There's no way to kill it. You can kill a vampire any way you want to kill a vampire because vampires don't freaking exist. So, while I feel you, Ron, about zombie movies and the tradition of zombies maybe crawling slowly and just being partial bodies and mainly rotting and walking slowly, it's really just your world. You can just create any type of thing you want. You can create any type of mythology. You can bend it this way. You can bend it that way. If you notice, every single Dracula movie, every single vampire movie, every single movie that features some kind of vampire has a different wrinkle on the mythos. It has a different, you've got like the vampire movie that takes place in Alaska where it's mostly nighttime. It's like, oh, well, that would make sense that the vampires would hang out there for part of the year while it's mostly night for 24 hours, for 23 hours a day. So while your point is taken, Ron, I agree with you that there's something good about having a fundamentalist and also a purist look at what zombies are, according to George Romero. I liked the spin. That Danny Boyle and Alex Garland put on it. What if these zombies, it seems like it just raises the stakes through. Ron Pertee says, I'm not a fan of Max Landis either. Aristotle Full Throttle says, no comment. Pronounce it Chardonnay. 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 That's what I'm going to do. From now on, he will be pronounced Chardonnay. Hold on a second. What happened? I don't know. Chardonnay. Oh, I think you upset him. Is this Will? Oh, I forgot this. Wait. I think you upset Chardonnay. I don't know if he likes it. But, I gotta say, Will, you're loco, man. All right. Serpent in the Rainbow is a high on my list of zombie movies. 30 Days of Night. I think that's the one, Ron Pertee. That's definitely the one. 30 Days of Night, where it was like Sam Neill, I think, is in that one. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which one has got Stephen Dorff? That's Blade. Stephen Dorff. I call him Stephen Dwarf. He's a little man. Maybe I shouldn't call him that. Let me know if that's insensitive. But Stephen Dwarf, he was in that show, that movie, The Gate. Do you remember The Gate? That's not necessarily a zombie movie, but that was a movie. Sir Kanye. Sir Chardonnay. He likes the sir. He likes the surname. Chardonnay, Sir Chardonnay, you approve? Okay, fine. What about Kevin Sorbo? Get out of here, Kevin Sorbo. Nobody wants to see you here. Nobody likes you, Kevin Sorbo, except for Frank from Long Island, who, by the way, I know this guy Frank from Long Island who met Kevin Sorbo once, and he will tell you, if you ever meet Frank, he'll let you know that he met Kevin Sorbo. Do you remember The Gate, though? That was pretty good. That was pretty creepy. The Gate was had Stephen Dwarfs in it, and there was like a demon from the hell. Tomorrow we'll talk about, I guess, troll movies. Troll 2. We'll just dedicate the show to Troll 2. There was a troll, it fell and it turned into a bunch of, I don't know. If you see The Gate, it's actually pretty creepy. It's kind of like the movie Explorers, but with demons instead of aliens, and it's scary. Lucky number 7 is in 30 Days of Night. That's like, you folded one movie into another just there. I went to college with Josh Hartnett, by the way. Me and Josh Hartnett went to the same college the same year. I've got a story about that. Let me just tell you with my brushes with fame. And then one day the show will be famous in and of itself. And we'll all be laughing at all of those other people. Actually, we won't. We'll be inviting them on the show to talk to them. And we'll talk to them. Wait, let's just go see what's going on in the debate. Oh my god, it's a zombie apocalypse in here. And now back to Christian Welker and the debate. Well, Ron Pertee, not sure if you grew up watching Batman, but This is about to get... This is going to turn into an all-out fight, I'm sure. I don't know. Get out of here, you... Why don't you shut up, man? Why can't you just shut up, man? I can't take you I can't take you anywhere. Uh-oh. Here comes the goddess, Queen Bee. Woo! I'm like from the movie The Stand, or the book The Stand by Stephen King. I'm God's hands coming here to stop all of the violence and all of the president on vice president crime that's happening here. Do you see what's going on this stage? Oh my God, are you in for it? In about 35 minutes, we're gonna watch history in the making. Insane history. Woo! All the single ladies, all the single ladies. All right, get out of here. Hopefully we'll talk to all these people. Yeah, I went to college with Josh Hartnett, and I would sit. So my first day on orientation at school, I sat down with this kid Christian, and he was an actor, and he was sitting with his. So he was like, "Are you an actor?" And I was like, "Well, I'm pursuing film, so I hope to be in the film program." And he's like, "Cool. Why don't you just like hang out with me and my friends later?" And then later that day, I went and hung out with Christian and Josh. He's like, "This is my buddy Josh. They were gonna go watch Midnight Cowboy," and I was like, "I've never seen it." They're like, "You've never seen Midnight Cowboy? How can you not have seen that? Come watch that movie with us." And then my friend Charles and I were jamming on guitars and basses earlier in the day. I met my friend Charles, and we were jamming out, rocking out. And then I was like, it was like one of those moments where I'm like, do I go hang out and jam out with my friend, or do I ditch my friend that I just made to hang out with these new people that I sort of am friendly with? And then I chose to hang out with my friend Charles and keep jamming with him for the rest of that day. It was like we were in the lunch hall. And then throughout the year, it was funny because I would sit at lunch with my friend Jen in the dining hall. This is at SUNY Purchase, by the way. Look it up, Josh Hartnett went to SUNY Purchase. And I would sit in the dining hall, and she'd be like, "That guy's so hot. That guy over there." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, Josh?" And she's like, "Yeah, that guy's so hot. He's so..." And I'm like, "Josh? What? His squinty eyes. He's got long sleeves. His sleeves were always past his hands. He would walk around by himself, go sit down." I'm like, "You talking about Josh? You think Josh?" She's like, "He's so hot." And then like 3 years later, fast forward, I was doing an internship at Miramax for Harvey Weinstein. And I would look at the cover of a movie that just came out. It was called The Faculty. And I was like, "Oh, there's Josh. Josh is in The Faculty with Jon Stewart? Holy crap." Anyway, that's my story. I went to college with Josh Hartnett. Geez, man. Yeah, it's weird. I'll tell you, I've lived a life. Ready to... I think we could just end it by the time the show's over. We'll just go jump in a lake or something. And then become a zombie. Get reanimated. All right, it's halfway through the show. We should go check out the news, right? We write a song every day. We write a song, but we need a topic. We need a theme. We need a style of music, maybe. Let's try that. Let's turn this down. Let's turn this up. That's not loud enough. It's not loud enough to rock. All right. We're ready to rock, I think. I think I'm a little warmed up here. Thunderbolts and lightning. Guys, we got to write a song about the news today. It's going to be a big day of news. Do you think that this next debate will be as good or as bad as the last one? 30 Days of Night is your favorite vampire movie, Chai DMB says. That one's... I got to check it out then. Polka. I knew someone... Will, we're like this. I was like, as long as you don't pick polka, we're good. How does polka go? It's like... It's like Oompa music. Polka. Oompa. Polka music isn't like 6/8 though, right? It's like... All right. Can you do folk on electric guitar? Because that's my vote for style. Folk song about the news. A folk song about the news. I am going to sing a folk song in the vein, actually. Check this out. It's going to be partially folk. It's going to be, but it's going to also be every single song. It's going to be every single song. Now get this in your mind. There's a band from the 80s called Poison, and one of the singer of the band is named Bret Michaels, and every single song Bret Michaels has ever sung on sounds like this. Every folk song he sings. I don't know. It's gonna be a big day for the news. We're gonna learn about the president, what he did and it didn't do to neglect 220,000 deaths in America. Cause every rose has a thorn. Anyway, that's the song. Electric folk. Electric folka. That's what we did. We did folka. Folka music. All right. So let's go check out the news, shall we? What's going on in the news? I'm going to write news in the search bar and see what happens. We've got news. Look at all the news. We got that kind of, we got peacocks, we got breaking news. We got Sky. We got trail markers. Okay, let's check out the real news, guys. Let's click on the thing that says news. House subpoenas DeVos staff and probe for Prophet College. Hey guys, it turns out that Betsy DeVos and the current administration may be corrupt. I don't want to burst your bubble. I don't want to shock you. I don't want to surprise you. But the people who are who are currently in the White House in power, they might be just out for themselves. You know, the billionaires that keep getting appointed to positions in the cabinet and on the staff. I don't listen. This might come as a shock to you, but Baby Yoda Fauci, why don't you tell them what's going on? Oh, two hands, Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci.
Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. I got to tell you something. If you've been following any of the news about the coronavirus pandemic, hopefully you've been following the advice that I've been giving as the head of the NIH, as an epidemiologist. I've been trying to tell you about, like, hey, why don't you be careful? Why don't you be safe? Why don't you wear a mask? What could it hurt? It's the least you could possibly do. You know how many lives we could have saved? You know how many lives we could have saved if you had just all worn a damn freaking mask? You know, this isn't like Game of Thrones here. There's not going to be people rising from the dead. When they're dead, okay? All right. It's just talking about zombies, all right? Just these people are self-interested. I'm a neutral party. I've worked under 6 presidents and 2 galactic emperors, okay, in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, give me a break, these people. Now I need Imperial guards around me all the time in case they try to murder me. You understand that? I'm running around with Imperial guards trying to protect my life. So just be aware that maybe these people in the White House, they're not out for you. They're out for themselves.
All right. A little bit of political punditry coming from Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. Wow, wee-wah. All right, Jeff Bridges. Oh, this is sad. Let's change the tone. You ever see how newscasters, they do that? They just change the tone. They're like, well, how about that? Oh, no, Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is an Oscar-winning U.S. actor, reveals he has lymphoma. Let's all pull for the dude, okay? Let's all Imperial gourds.
Imperial gourds. What am I saying it wrong? What? Imperial gourds. You guys want some coffee? Or would you prefer water? Would you like water or coffee? All right? Or imperial gourds?
All right. That's enough from you for now until later.
I would like to see the baby.
That's all Werner Herzog ever wants to see is the baby. From the mouths of babies, from the mouths of alien babies from a galaxy far, far away, who are doctors, who are also baby Yodas, who are from Brooklyn. Jeff Bridges, man, the dude, man, we can't lose the dude. What's up, 420 artists? We saw 420 artists art yesterday on this channel, this very channel, and I liked what the message 420 artists left us with yesterday, which is you are all loved and you're all valued and you're all important. And that's the message. That's as good a message as you can get. Christine Anstead says that she's choosing peace over nonsense amid the Anstead split news. Wait, that's from Fox News. It doesn't seem to have any relevance to, like, the current pulse of what's on most people's minds, which is the insanity that is this country. Fox News seems to, like, gently gloss over that. Fox News is like, cat videos! The president lets 220,000 people die through his negligence, and Fox News is like, look at these puppies. Fox News is just for people who want to just hear the things that they want to feel better about. And that's why you're here, hopefully. We're going to talk about zombies in a minute, but let's just get through a couple of these stories here. Rudy Giuliani caught a compromising position in the new Borat film. We talked about that yesterday. Rudy Giuliani, he was trying to do things. Hey, Ange, welcome. Trump's Twitter was hacked after Dutch researcher claims he guessed password. Apparently, I read about this earlier. Apparently, Trump's password was like MAGA 2020. And his original password was "you're fired," no spaces, no apostrophes. Because this is the type of intelligence and wit you're dealing with at this level of office. You know, the highest office in the land and therefore the world. The most powerful human being in the world had a password that could be easily guessed, which was "you're fired," which reminds me of Spaceballs. What's the password? 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. And everybody's like, oh man, I gotta change the password on my luggage. Spaceballs, guys, great movie. Except for my friend David Hussey, he doesn't like that movie. David, I'm gonna have my friend David on the show, and we're gonna debate the merits of Spaceballs. Democratic turnout advantage in pre-election vote narrows in key states. Worried about that, guys. If you haven't voted, please vote. If you're not registered, register now and vote. Because I don't know, I don't want to wake up the day after election day again and then want to, like, immediately stick my head in a meat grinder. Do you know what I mean?
What's wrong with the meat grinder?
Well, Freeze, first of all, you immediately die.
No, sometimes they drop this here in the meat grinder. You know, I say that a couple times. I've said that a few times. They just let this here and they drop this in the meat grinder, you know?
Yes, we get it. We get the joke.
I like meat. I like sausage. You should never see how sausage is made, though. It's kind of disgusting. The sausage meat is ground up from all the different parts, and then you put them inside the intestines of the actual pig.
Actually, that sounds quite delicious. Well,
To each their own. I happen to be a full vegetarian, except for these cheese nips. And I do have every now and then I have a bacon Bloody Mary. Boy, oh boy, is that sweet. A sweet, sweet bacon-flavored Bloody Mary.
Batman, I think you might have a problem.
Oh, well, Ben, what would you know? You're just a baby. You're just a baby. Yeah. Hey, Batman, what do you say we just drop him in the meat grinder? It would be that easy, you know? That seems like a bit of a change of character for you, Freeze. You seem, up until this point, very nice. But I don't think that
He's actually kind of cute, and he's growing on me.
Batman, you wouldn't drop me in a meat grinder, would you?
I couldn't bring myself to do it. That's right. Oh, man. I'll tell you one thing over here. I'll knock you out. I'll punch you. Oh, it's gonna get crazy in here. Wow. That was violence. That was violence. Let's go back to talking about zombie movies. I think that was a good news segment. I think we did the whole segment. That's how news segments work, right? Hi, Jake. Hi, 420 Artist. Hi, Condyland. Hi, Jen the Fierce. MAGA 2020. It is a hilarious password. That's my password for everything. Because no one would ever guess it. Guys, what did we even think? What were we doing? We should have just gone to the polls. We don't want a surprise like that. And we cannot risk it this time, guys. I feel like there were a few missteps that Hillary Clinton made. She didn't go to Wisconsin, I think, for the last minute, or Michigan. And she lost that support. She didn't gain it. This president won by like 74,000 votes in just 2 districts, guys. I don't know. And also, in the news, it is reported that I think Iran is interfering with our election right now. My favorite, here's a good test, guys. I mean, you could probably argue this both ways, but if one party is denying that there's interference with the election that favors their candidate, I mean, if they're denying it, it's probably to their advantage. They're probably like, no, nobody's helping us. There's no such thing. How could you even think that? They're probably aware of it, guys. Oh, Will Arnett, my arch nemesis. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not your arch nemesis. You're your own enemy. You're your own worst enemy, bro. What's your favorite zombie movie? Yeah, you don't want to wake up the next day like a Walking Dead person like I was last time. I like Train to Busan. Guys, did you see Train to Busan? It's a Korean zombie movie, and they're already coming out with a sequel. The sequel is made, done, and on its way. Hey, Judy, what's up on Instagram? Guys, remember, I just want to do a station identification. You're watching Aristotle Full Throttle, and maybe in about 15 minutes I might throw that debate on, and we might watch a little bit of it together. You and me. We might watch this debate and analyze it together. Some of it. Zombieland. I haven't seen Zombieland yet, though. Though I should. I really should see Zombieland. I hear it's funny. It's got Bill Murray. Bill Murray is one of those actors who transcends whatever movie he's in. He actually is just Bill Murray all of the time, and you kind of pay to see that. You kind of pay to get a Bill Murray quality to your film. Death Becomes Her, definitely a zombie movie, for sure. That's a Robert Zemeckis film from the 90s with Meryl Streep, the greatest actor who ever walked the earth, who ever graced celluloid, whoever was in the movie Deer Hunter. She's one of the greatest actors, probably the best actor. And Goldie Hawn, who's also a revelation. But let's not forget Bruce Willis, or maybe we could. We could forget Bruce Willis was in that. But that's a movie for sure. I like that movie. It's really is a good lampoon of Beverly Hills and all of that. How about Zombieland is up there with Shaun of the Dead? Yeah, Shaun of the Dead was funny. That was a fun and funny movie. That's a good one because it just doesn't take itself seriously. I mean, zombie movies that take themselves seriously are pretty good. But at this point, guys, I think there's a common parlance of what zombies are. I think we already understand in popular culture what a zombie is. So I don't like, maybe this bugs you too, but if you're watching a zombie movie and then people are like, oh my God, what's happening? The person was dead, but now they're alive. Oh my God. And they're like surprised. At this point, in any person's personal movie lexicon or myth lexicon, like they would be like, oh yeah, that's a zombie, bro. Yeah, you ever heard of a zombie? If something's dead and it comes back to life and bites you and then you die and then you come back to life, that's zombieism. That's straight up zombie nonsense. You are under arrest for being ignorant of zombie parlance. I would like to stop you from, it's basic programming, even as a RoboCop. Before I became a total RoboCop, before I even became RoboCoptopus, I even knew what a zombie was. I'm kind of technically a zombie, if you think about it. What do you think? What do you think there, Jake? What do you think, Jen? Do you think that RoboCop is a zombie? Because I was brought back to life. RoboCoptopus is a double zombie. I'm a double zombie. Actually, I'm an octuple zombie. I've got 8 limbs, guys. I'm a RoboCoptopus. I'm a RoboCop. RoboCop is definitely a zombie. Uh-oh.
Please put down your weapons. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Well, if it isn't my arch nemesis, Ed Sheeran 209.
Yeah, please put down your weapon. You now have 10 seconds to comply.
You tried this before, Ed Sheeran 209, and let me just tell you, Ed Sheeran 209, I've got way more limbs than you, way more opposable digits. I can outplay you on guitars. I could probably play like 12 guitars at once.
Please put down your guitars. I am jealous.
Also, I'm in love with the shape of your arms, all 8 of your arms. I'm in love with the shape of them. Well, Ed Sheeran 209. I appreciate the compliment because I installed these arms myself. I found them in the bottom of the East River after Dr. Octopus killed himself or died at the end of Spider-Man 2, RoboCop 2. I didn't die in that. But Ed Sheeran 209, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of my guitar playing skills compared to you.
To borrow a phrase, why don't you borrow the phrase from the other day and say it again on the show?
Do you want to have a guitar playing contest like the Crossroads? Is that right? Is that what you want?
Maybe.
Dead or alive, you are strumming with me.
That was a pretty good pun. Please put down those arms. They're threatening me. They're threatening me.
Well, you're easily frightened. Get out of here, Ed Sheeran 209. Ed Sheeran 209, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd buy that for $1.
Thank you. Thank you, RoboCoptopus. What a gentleman RoboCoptopus is. Good golly. Meryl Streep played the real-life godmother in a made-for-TV movie called Nobody's Child. Meryl Streep was in the maybe made for TV? Meryl Streep was made for TV? Nah, she was made for the cinema. Meryl Streep, though, did she have to choose between her kids and that? Ed Sheeran 209 needs a voice pitch shifted a couple of octaves. Yeah, I probably could do that. But I would have to switch in between. Here. Let's see. No, wait. Let's do that. I could probably hear pitch shifter. This is semitones. No, wait. Let's do it. No. There's too many buttons, guys. I sound like oh, that's much better. That's much better. Oh, wait. You guys can't even hear it. This is... You can't hear it. Listen to this. Ed Sheeran 209.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Wait, let's try that. Let's try that much louder. It's too loud. Wait, maybe not so low. That will... We'll go up here. Yeah. There you go.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply. Please put down your guitars. You have... Well, actually, I'd like to hear some more guitar. This is pretty scary, guys. I'm probably scaring my neighbors. Yeah. Anyway, Ed Sheeran 209. I should really have a high-pitched voice.
I should really sound like this. I should really sound like this. I'm Ed Sheeran 209.
Well, it turns out that Ed Sheeran 209 is...
I think my neighbors are frightened that maybe demons are possessing my apartment. That's okay. I don't mind. One bit. I'd rather it that way. Guys, we're 8 minutes away from probably the debate of our lives. Debates don't really solve anything, do they? But zombies, they'll sure... You know what I liked about The Walking Dead? That everybody was infected by the virus, and you would die, and everybody, as soon as you died, then you'd have to come back to life. So you didn't know when someone was gonna die and bite your nose off. You know what I mean? I might go, whoa, hell, turn that down. It is very ominous. But, wait, hold on a second.
Just to lighten things up, man. I am the rock biter, and my voice is naturally low. Don't mean to scare you guys, but looks like, you know, classic rock. I'm the classic rock biter, man. Womp womp. My YouTube app crashed, man. Well, now you're on Twitch, and Twitch is where it's at. Where it's at. Got 2 turntables and a microphone. Hey guys, you all seem really cozy there in your baby Bjorns.
Yeah, you know, we're just hanging out here. We're just cuddling up. I'm not too comfortable myself, actually. This feels a little strange to me, but I think I could get used to it.
Batman, just relax into it, okay? It's pretty comfortable. I am a baby. I'm a baby.
Yeah, he's tiny. He's puny, man. He's like, I can barely see him. He's so tiny.
I take offense to that because, you know, I am played by Tom Hardy, and Tom hardly can see me. You can hardly see Tom Hardy.
Well, I get it. That's a good break, man. Tough break.
What is it that we have learned today? We learned how to make this sausage, which I resent deeply, for I am a pig, but I am also a man. So sometimes, you know, I like to grind up parts of me and put them inside my own intestines and eat them, which might sound frightening to you and zombie-like, but you know, it's quite delicious. So you spice it up real good, put some fennel seeds in there, and it's very German sausage. Yeah, I'm a pig, and a man, and a swine, and I hope that you all can hold it together for this debate. This debate is going to get wild, I think.
Hey everybody, this is Carl Weathers and the Carl Weathers Report featuring Cardi B. No, sorry, this is the Carl Weathers Predator Weathers Report featuring Cardi B and the Action Jackson Predator Weathers Forecast. And I'd just like to say, Coral is not my name. You don't pronounce it Coral, you just pronounce it Carl. And it's going to be 68 degrees, clear skies.
Oh man, oh my god, I can't believe that's Predator. In my forecast, there's gonna be some Predator. Watch out. The Predator's gonna get, he's one ugly.
Hey, you know that Predator, Cardi B, we discussed this the other day. You should wear a mask.
Well, that Predator's not wearing a mask.
Usually he wears a mask, but
He's not wearing a mask now.
But you should wear a mask. Your birthday party was irresponsible. You were out there. Well, I don't even think you should be on the show anymore. You were irresponsible. You're supposed to be a role model to. Well, I guess you're not supposed to be a role model.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, we're doing it, guys. Let's go over to C-SPAN and see what's going on over there. C-SPANs. C-SPAN. C-SPAN. All right. Get ready for it. CW is getting pretty competent in saying the show title. Yeah, Carl Weathers is working on it. You know, Carl Weathers, he's only been working here for 6 months. All right. Let's see. We've got C-SPANs. C-SPAN, the most exciting show on the internet. I'll tell you one thing. C-SPAN is way more entertaining than this show. You know, I gotta say that if I was gonna watch C-SPAN or this show, I would actually put on like every C-SPAN channel. I'd put on C-SPAN 1, C-SPAN 2, C-SPAN 3, C-SPAN 14, and I'm not even American. We've got like three channels in Canada, in the People's Republic of Canada. I mean, and I would watch any one of those channels over the Aristotle Full Throttle program. It seems like such a waste of time. Really, actually. But let me just go over here for a second.
Hey, Seth Rogen, you gotta remind them to buy a T-shirt.
Why would I remind them to get a T-shirt? I don't support this channel in any way. I've only seen every single episode, and I haven't seen a good one yet. But I suppose if you want to waste your money on some T-shirts, you could go click on the links below.
Yeah, you might want to get a talking T-shirt.
Is anybody else hearing that? What do you mean, Batman? I don't hear a thing. Yeah, I don't hear anything. Batman, are you talking to yourself? I'm pretty sure that my shirt is talking. Oh, Batman, you've had too much from your bat flask today, haven't you?
Batman, they're laughing at you.
Stop laughing at me, shirt. You see what I mean? Guys, can you like even get like an inkling of what I mean by how ridiculous this show is? And I mean, we got like Batman and Quado and all of this stuff, Baby Bjorns. We need to like just do a fresh an overhaul of this show, and just throw it in the fire, really.
I think that's a good idea. I think that what's wrong with fire? What's wrong with being a trash fire? I'm a human trash fire. My name is Mike Pence, and I'm a human garbage can with a fly on my face. And I think we did it. I think we've successfully ended the show. Maybe we'll flip over to watch a little bit of the debate right now. Why don't we do that?
All right, where's the debate? Trump second debate live. Let's click that button. And let's turn this down. All right, watch live. Watch from beginning. Press play. I hope I can watch it. I don't have cable. I just have internets. Do I have to pick my cable carrier? Ooh, C-SPAN, guys. Very exciting. Very exciting. I forgot to tell people on Instagram to subscribe.
And the second and final presidential debate.
How about this, guys? Are you guys excited for this?
Nashville, Tennessee, President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden is time.
Topics on foreign and domestic policy.
Sorry, guys. That was the end of the Aristotle Full Throttle proper show, and I don't think anybody's watching anymore. That's okay.
Well, the president arrived in Nashville at about
I just recycled
4:20
the
this afternoon,
chat.
along with First Lady Melania Trump, and they then attended a
Oh,
fundraiser
there are 7
in
people here.
downtown Nashville.
Look, the
Vice
president.
President and Mrs. Biden arrived.
Full disclosure, guys.
4:30, and then
I don't
traveled
like the
to
president.
Belmont University to do a site survey of the debates.
Let's
Well,
let's make fun of this, shall we?
C-SPAN, and thanks for joining us for our
I don't see any
coverage of this
comments. I
final
think we
debate
lost our
of the
commenters.
2020 presidential election. It all kicks off at 9 p.m. tonight.
That's
But
right
as
now.
Always, we will go early to get all the festivities ahead of time, and afterwards we will take your calls and get your reaction to a.
Uh-oh. Wait. That was not it. Watch live. Sorry. Let's do that.
C-SPAN, more relevant than ever.
Have they walked out on the stage yet? Have they started cursing each other? Oh, look. Is this live? Is this thing on? Cool. Cool. 6 on Twitch. Hey, everybody on Twitch. Remember, you can... Once we get to 4,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a PS5. So you can win stuff watching the show. If you're a gamer, if you're into that kind of thing, just subscribe. And you could do that. And then you'll win a PS5. Oh, here comes Kristen Welker, everybody. I might have to pee at some point. They're inside the Rockbiter's stomach, and that's official canon. Okay. Let's grow the browser here. There we go. That's much better. How about this? Zombie movies, guys. Zombie movies. I think we've concluded that zombie movies rule. They're fun. I like when people die and they don't come back to life. All right, here it is. I'm a little nervous, guys. I gotta say. Kristen Welker seems nervous, but she's on top of this. She's got this. President doesn't like her because she's too fair, turns out. She's very, she's getting herself together here. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for all kinds of things. For all kinds of reasons. Hold on a second. We're waiting with bated breath for something to happen. Maybe, just maybe, a word will be spoken. And then we can move on. She's shuffling papers. I might shuffle on out of here. What's... You want to see a mic disappear? That's, she got to put the mic up her nose? Zombie movies. I got to come up with all these hashtags now. Hashtags give me anxiety, guys. There's too many of them. Movies. Movies 2020. Kristen Welker, say a word. Say words. Talk to us.
Good evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, let's pull up a chair.
I'm Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates.
This looks like I'm looking at the TV.
It is conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Commission's health security advisor. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent.
This is going to be fun, guys.
Cheers, booze, or other interruptions.
Did she say booze?
Right now, as
bring up your
welcome to
booze.
the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
Jumping Joe Biden. I tell you, let me just sock that guy in the face. Let me not stand too close to that COVID positive son SOB. If I catch COVID, I'll probably die within 14 minutes because I'm 115 years old. Please stay away from me. Please test negative.
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer.
What?
The commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired.
Good.
After that, both microphones will remain on. But on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say.
I can't
So
believe...
with that, if you're ready, let's start.
Let me turn off the
We'll
Biden music.
begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID.
Yes.
So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Yeah, how would you...
So, as you know, 2.2 million people
modeled
out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe.
Is the worldwide pandemic all over the world?
If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone.
I'll give you a spike to your face.
It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute.
Gene Roddenberry's rolling over in his
I can tell you from
spacecraft.
personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic.
He still sounds sick, guys.
Some people could say it was a cure, but
some people
I was in
can't
for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune.
What?
More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem.
Nothing. He says nothing. You're right, Jake.
By the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators. We're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away. And
I got a nosebleed.
We're rounding the turn. We're rounding the corner.
No, we're
it's
not.
going away.
It's not.
Okay, former Vice President
He's
Biden,
immune.
to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. You hear nothing else I say tonight. Hear this.
What?
Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
That's a good point.
We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation
I can
is
hear
we'll
him
have
talk
another
this time.
200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100,000 lives.
I know.
And
Simple.
we're in a circumstance where the president thus far and still has no plan, no comprehensive plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you.
I heard the whole thing, guys.
Taking a therapeutic, I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Weeks.
Is that a guarantee?
Weeks.
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two
I would like for
companies,
him
I
to
think, within
actually
a matter of weeks, and
promise
it will
a
be
thing.
distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well.
Moderna?
Pfizer.
Oh, they cut his mic. God damn it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I'm getting a call. Sorry, guys. Hey, Ollie, I just have you on this. We've got a caller. You might be delayed.
Let me follow up with you because this is
the only way I can figure out how to do it right now because I'm not currently set up for a guest. But Oliver Williams, who's partly responsible.
Now I see myself. This is completely impossible.
That was our guest, Oliver Williams.
As soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine.
I would take it. Why not?
By the government. What steps
Sounds
would you take
delicious.
to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved.
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter.
I needed, Oliver, I needed the 20 minutes or the 40 minutes before the show to set that up, but we didn't do that. So that's why you are not currently our guest right now.
And at all, we're opening up our country. We've learned and
it's a whole different setup.
Understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from
China
coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying
they're not interrupting each other, guys.
I did it too soon. Now he's saying, "Oh, I should have, moved quicker," but he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me, many months behind me, and frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster. Far less lethal, but it was
far less lethal.
Had this kind of
200,000 fewer deaths.
700,000.
226,000 fewer deaths.
But it was a far less
216,000.
disease.
206,000.
His own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic.
Swine.
It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he
it's
did
true.
that.
It's just
40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then
Wuhan, I got you all in check.
Talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about don't worry, it's all going to be over soon.
Right.
Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
I say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement.
Come on,
Joe
man.
Does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this thing about living.
Will
in a
you
basement.
shut up, man?
People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous, and you catch it. And I caught it. I learned a lot. I learned nothing. Great doctors, great hospitals, and now I recovered. 99.9% of young people recover. 99% of people recover.
That's not an accurate statistic.
We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get
I learned a lot
COVID-19 and can pass it.
because I had to get it first in order to learn anything about it when I had 7 months on it.
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table.
Ouch!
That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on.
I just got you right in the kisser.
Because he has never said, you said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
Right. Because he doesn't know how to.
I take full responsibility.
First time ever.
It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not
Look at the
fault
shock.
that he came here either. It's China's fault. They kept it from going into the
I take full responsibility. It's China's fault.
They didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
The fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that, but a lot of people thought it was serious. A whole range of things the president has said. Even today, he thinks we are in control. We're about to lose 200,000 more people.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this, when I
take full responsibility.
he said
China
I
is to
shouldn't have
blame.
closed. And that went on for months.
That's a quote.
Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco. But when I closed, he said, this is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You certainly did. You certainly did.
I talked about a xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handling
He thought I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well,
That's obvious.
do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President?
No.
Biden? Okay. Let's talk about
Just because, why?
strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support
Amazing.
these shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part. Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap at his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the neighborhood, but there are, look, you need standard. The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level.
Why don't I shut you down with my fist?
Up. More social distancing. Do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums. Do not open until you get this under control, under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example,
That's a great idea. I go to the gymnasium, work out my forearms.
They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And he's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President Trump,
I think we have to respond.
I need to go to the gymnasium,
and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you.
work
but
on
I
the heavy
appreciate
bag.
that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns. But forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York. You look at what's going on in California. You look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina. Democrats all. They're shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down.
This all
We have
happened
to
on
open
your
our
watch,
schools. And
you
it's like,
knucklehead.
as an example, I have a young son. He also tested
How are you going to blame
positive.
this on me?
By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people, I guess it's their immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small, but I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy.
I'm going to
People
give
are
you a
losing their
knockout
jobs.
punch.
They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know, I've said it often. The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself.
I'm going to open up
That's
a
what's happening.
wound
And he
above your
wants to
eyeball.
close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy
Joe.
says we should close it down.
Have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. So don't worry about it.
Whoa.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York,
He's
it's
not
a
even going to
ghost
respond to
town.
that.
It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass,
It's a
these
ghost
are
town under
restaurants
your
that are
watch, you idiot.
dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around
The
with
cost of
plastic.
human life
These are
versus
businesses that are
plexiglass, ladies and
dying, Joe.
gentlemen.
You can't do that to people.
Plexiglass
Take a look at New York
versus
and what's
the cost
happened
of
to my
human life.
Wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look
Vice
at what
President
New
Biden.
York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the
Smart.
United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly. But
One of
they're
these
all
guys sounds like a
Americans.
president.
All Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one. Make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
when
about-
you say spike,
Oh, cut him off.
take a
Cut him
look
off.
at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes, and they've been closed, and they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will
We're
protect them with
underwater.
the best testing
We're
in the
underwater,
world.
but we just got to start breathing,
And we have
okay?
so many cases.
Let me follow up with you before we move on to our next
We
section.
can't just
President
keep
Trump,
drowning.
This week you called Dr.
Just start
Anthony
breathing.
Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to?
Let me-
I heard that.
listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony.
Oh,
but
is that right?
he did say, don't wear masks.
That-
He did
no.
say,
No.
as you know,
No.
this is not going to be a problem. I think he's a
What do you-
Democrat, but that's okay. He said this is not
Get
going to be a
your-
problem. We are not going to have a problem at all.
I'm from
When
the outer
Bill
rim,
says
you idiot.
that, I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew.
Can
what
you
this
believe
thing
this
was.
knucklehead?
Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've
You
learned
just
a
said it
lot.
was from China,
But
you
Anthony
idiot.
said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said,
Because
if you look
science
back, his exact
progresses.
words, here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
He said he learned a lot.
Your response
Sounds like he
quickly,
learned
and then We're going
nothing.
to move on to the next section.
My response is that think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people.
Good one.
He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us, Americans don't panic. He panicked. But guess what? In the meantime, we find out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers, said sell short because we got to get moving. It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going
one
to give
I-
you
this is
30
one I
seconds
have
to
in-
respond, and then we're
The
going
Wall
to
Street
move
one.
on.
I
Yeah,
know
that's
somebody
right.
went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it.
I have.
You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals
It's so funny, right,
I could raise so
Jed?
much more money. As president and as somebody that knows most of those people, I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record, but I don't want to do that because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me.
That
could
sounds
blow away your
suspect.
records that, like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're
Don't
going to
tell
move
me
on.
about Wall
Average
Street.
We're gonna-
contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is national security. And I do want to start.
This
with
is-
the security
this
of our
reminds me of
elections and
this.
Some breaking news from overnight. Just last
This is
night,
Trump.
top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President. What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good.
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price.
You're going to pay the price?
And it's been overwhelmingly
$5.
clear this election.
$43.
I won't even get into the last one. This election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved to some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a price if I'm elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty.
$43.
That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it. I don't think he's talking to him a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him
Trump's
that
mouth is
what
closed.
is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani.
Oh.
He's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is
He's
Russian,
got some
that
smirk
is
on
not
his face.
true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that
He just got found out.
everything that's going
Trump
on here
got
about
exposed.
Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know
I do want to
me.
become famous.
I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
I got it.
When he's
I nailed it.
engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the question.
I gotta go to
why
the
isn't that
page.
being done? Any country that interferes with us will, in fact, pay a price because they're affecting our sovereignty.
Hey, we got
President
spammers.
Trump, same question to you. Let me ask the question. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond. For 2 elections in a row now, there has been substantial interference from foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term to put an end to this? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, let me respond to the first part as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia.
There it is.
And it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million. And, you know, someday you're going to have to explain why did you get
Million.
I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia. Now, about your thing last night, I knew all about that. And through
Hey, Jen, I think that
John,
spammer
who is John Ratcliffe, who is
has a
fantastic.
legitimate
He and I-
offer.
He said, the one thing that's common to both of them, they both want you to lose because there has been nobody tougher to Russia. Between the sanctions, nobody tougher than me on Russia. Between the sanctions, between all of what I've done with NATO, you know, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra $130 billion, going to $420 billion a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher on Russia than Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took over the submarine port. You remember that very well. During your term, during you and even
Right in
worse,
outer space.
all of the emails,
You'll be an
the
astronaut,
emails,
the
the
first
horrible
presidential
emails of
astronaut.
The kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family. But what he...
We learned that this president paid 50 times the tax in China, has a secret bank account with China.
Yeah, we did learn that last week.
Does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever. Number one. Number two, this is a president, I have released all of my tax returns. 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not.
I'll give you I'll knock some sense into you. No pennies, but I'll knock some sense into
Why
you.
are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
Oh.
First of all, I called my accountants.
It's very complicated. It's very difficult. As soon we're rushing. We got a vaccine coming right on corner, but my tax returns take forever.
$750. I asked them,
We're rushing the vaccine. Tax returns, 4 years, 5 years.
Tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax.
Unbelievable.
Tens over the last number of years. Tens of millions of dollars I prepaid. Because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay tax.
This is amazing.
So I already prepaid it. Nobody told me that.
Did your accountant
Nobody
tell
told
you
you
when
that.
you
Excuse
released
me. And it
Excuse
wasn't
me.
written whenever
Excuse
they
me.
write this. They keep talking about $750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just tell you, I prepaid millions
Which is
and millions of dollars. In
so he didn't
taxes.
pay any
Number
taxes. He
one.
just
Number
paid the
two,
filing
I don't
fee.
make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from
I'm not
Russia.
one. You're one.
You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you.
I know
they
you are,
even
but what
have a
am I?
statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know. Maybe
Amazing.
you're not, but you're the big man, I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man.
Amazing.
Joe, what's that all about? It's
I'm not
terrible.
one. You're
Gentlemen, I
one.
want to ask you both some questions
I have
about
to
all of this.
respond
But I'm going to let you both respond very
Amazing,
quickly. You
guys.
just said you spoke to your
This is an
accountant
adult.
about potentially releasing your taxes.
Apparently,
Did he tell you when
supposedly.
you can release them? Do you
This is a
have a
president.
deadline for when you're going to release them
I
to the
get
American
treated
people?
worse than the
Apparently.
Tea Party got treated.
Supposedly.
Because
you
I have a
don't
lot
have
of
the time.
people in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decide to run for president.
I don't take money from
I get
China.
treated
You
very
do.
badly by the IRS, very unfairly.
I can't do
But
Pee Wee
we had a
Herman.
deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions
Millions
of dollars, and it's worse
and
than
millions.
paid. I paid in advance.
He's a
It's called
full
prepaying your taxes.
size
I paid in advance.
person.
I want to ask you both about
And
questions.
he's not an adult,
regarding
he's a
your
full
potential foreign entanglements
sized
and
person.
questions that have been raised. To give
Maybe
you
he's
both
a person.
chance
Some
to
point-
talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us.
Yeah.
Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes. Nobody knows it, Mr. President. What they do know is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on. Come on, folks.
Amazing.
President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions to both of you. Sure.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It
Millions.
started
Millions.
before I even got elected. They spied on my campaign. No president should
Spied.
ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say
It's so unfair.
Mueller
It's so unfair. I'm
and
such a
18
snowflake
angry
of a
Democrats
president.
and FBI agents all over the place. spent
Nothing's ever my
$48
fault.
million. They went through everything I had, including my tax returns, and they found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong.
No, they found
48
collusion. They
million.
just said collusion
I
wasn't a
guarantee
crime,
you,
bro.
I spent $1 million on you, Joe. I could find plenty wrong because
All
the
right.
kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken. I mean, your brother made money in Iraq,
Let me-
millions of dollars.
Millions.
Your other brother made a fortune.
Everybody
And
drink
it's
when he
all
says
through you,
millions.
Joe, and they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
He has all
All
the.
right, gentlemen, let me just ask some questions about all of this broadly. Vice President Biden, there have been
It's
questions
weird
about the work
Trump
your son has
bragging
done
about how
in
rich he
China
is,
and for a
but then
Ukrainian
trying
energy
to
company when you were
chide
vice president. In
Biden
retrospect,
for
is
having
anything
houses.
about those relationships
That doesn't make any
appropriate
sense,
or
guys.
unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what the deal. With regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of Burisma, a company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet
Don't eat the
every
orange stove,
single
says 420
solitary
artist.
person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably. I carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line.
He's gonna
Not a
knock the
single
mic
thing.
off the
Number one.
podium.
Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say something negative about me, which they would not do and did not do because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China. I have not had, the only guy who made money from China is this guy.
Yes.
The only one.
We know that.
Nobody else
There's
has made money
records.
from China.
Never
President
to
Trump,
deal with
let me
By the
ask
way,
my question to you.
but could I just
Cut him
one
off.
point?
Shut
Very
him
His
down.
son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that.
Oh, now
He
he's
didn't have a job.
sympathetic
As
to
soon
it.
as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best.
By the way, this is
reputation
Trump.
in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month. Listen to this. 183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had no energy.
I'm going to let the Vice President
That's
respond to that quickly,
100%
and then I need to get to a
dishonest.
question to you. Very
No
quickly,
basis
Mr.
for
Vice
that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay, President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've
Never, ever,
personally
not
promoted
once.
Your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China.
And I
So
never,
how can
ever,
voters know
not
that you
once-
don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts.
Turns
and
out
they're
you
all
taking money from
listed, and
China.
They're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to.
You're
which
not
is-
business,
everybody
nor
knows
are you
about
a
it, it's
man.
listed. The bank account was in 2013.
When you
That's
shrug
what it
like
was.
that,
It was open in
can't
it
believe
was
you.
closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president.
Is that right?
Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother,
Is
and
he?
his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking up
Okay,
money every
President Trump,
place.
thank you.
Millions.
Move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more
And
broadly. There
why does
have,
Joe have
of
to defend his
course,
son in the first
President
place?
Trump has
Because
said that they
clearly
should pay
his son is running for
not
president.
being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were president, would you make China pay? And please be specific. What would that look like?
Yeah.
What I'd make China do is play by the international rules, not like
$43.
He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down, with China, up, not down. We are making sure that in order to do business in China, you have to give all your intellectual property. You have to have a partner in China. It's 51%. We would not do that at all, number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well.
Sorry, guys. Hang on
When
a second.
I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the
I'm gonna be
in the
tweeting
South
too,
China
guys.
Sea. You can't fly through them. I said we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention. They have to play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up we're 25% of the world's economy. We need to be having the rest of our friends with us saying to China, these are the rules. You play by them or you're going to pay the price for not paying by them economically. That's the way I will run it, and that's what we did in upholding steel tariffs and a range of other things when we were president and vice president.
All right, let's talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, no, I have to respond to that.
Okay. Very
He has to
quickly,
res-
then we're gonna
why
move
does she
on to
even
North
let him-
Korea.
$1.5 from China to
Not
manage after
true.
spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air Force Two, number one. Number two, there's a very strong email talking about
Very
your family
strong
wanting to make $10 million
email.
a year for introductions.
President Trump on China
Is it
policy
very-
bill.
Taxpayers'
China-
money. Taxpayers' money. Didn't come from
You
China.
know who the taxpayer is? It's called China. China paid
true.
$28 billion, and you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their
Someone's
currency, and they
clearly
also paid
driving.
up. And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our great farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything. Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel
Okay,
industry.
Vice President Biden, your response, please.
My response is, look, this isn't about. There's a reason why he's.
I was going to say
bringing up
Kristen
all this
Welker's hair
malarkey.
is pretty
There's a
good,
reason for it.
but I didn't
He doesn't wanna
notice
talk
the
about
shirt yet.
The substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family, and your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than If you're a middle-class family, you're getting
Did he give a
hurt
dollar amount?
badly right now.
$43.
You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires, they're bald because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to
Yeah,
tell
her hair's
she
pretty-
can't go
pretty-
back to
pretty.
community college? They're the decisions you're making. In the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont, they're in trouble. We should be talking about your families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want
That is a
to talk
typical
about
statement.
North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
1
to turn
second,
to
please.
10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing.
Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times. You've talked about your beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test. And yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and continues to develop its nuclear arsenal. Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need to get on to the next one.
So when I met with Barack Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him.
You know how you can tell he's lying?
He probably thinks the same thing about me.
You know how you
We
can
have a
tell he's
different kind
lying?
of a relationship. We have a very good relationship.
His lips are moving.
And there's no war. And you know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, oh, there's going to be trouble. I said, no, they're not, because he's not going to do that.
This
And
is
I
how
was
he gets his
look,
exercise.
Instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away, millions and millions, 32 million people in Seoul. Millions of people would be dead right now.
President
We
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war.
30
And
Try
seconds.
that for a minute.
Vice President Biden,
You'll
to you,
fall
North
out.
Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat right
Because I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal. Because here's I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continuing to do military maneuvers with South Korea? I said, because North Korea is a problem. And we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they cannot hurt us. And so if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not, it's going to continue. What
It's
has he
crazy.
done? He's legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy who's a thug, and he talks about how we're better off. And they have much
Tell me
more
about
capable
thugs.
missiles.
I'm from the Bronx.
Able to reach U.S. territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow
Ooh,
up with you,
that's crazy.
President Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get the,
Oh,
the
yeah, you
Korean
gotta get
Peninsula
rid of
should be
those nukes.
nuclear-free zone.
All right, let's move on to American families.
They tried
Very
to
quickly,
meet with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it.
This guy talks
He
too
didn't
much.
like
He's
Obama.
crazy.
He didn't like him. He wouldn't do it.
Okay, I
know
gotta
for a
give him a
fact
What's
they
going on with
tried.
his hands?
He wouldn't
Before we
do
move
it.
on.
You
And
know,
that's
I-
okay. You know what, North Korea? We're not in a war.
What's
We have
going
a
on
good
with his
relationship.
hands?
You know, people don't understand. Having a good relationship
Trump,
with
we have to
leaders
move
of
on,
the
because
country
we have a
is
He's
lot of-
untethered,
we have a
Edge.
lot of questions to get to.
Edge.
Your
Not
response.
like
Oh,
we
he's
had a good
losing it.
relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded Europe.
Oh.
The rest of Europe. Come on. The reason he would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization.
Yo, he
We're
just
not gonna
slapped him.
legitimize you. We're going to continue to put stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he wouldn't meet with us.
All right,
And
let's
it didn't
move
happen.
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me.
and talk
No,
about
no.
American
Me a
families.
mess, Kristen.
President Trump. Okay, we do
They
need to move
left
on.
me
Move
a
on.
mess.
Move on. Shut him up.
North Korea was a mess.
We
And in
need to
fact,
move
if you
on so that
remember
we
the
can get
first
to
2
all
or
of
3
our
months,
questions tonight,
there was a
President
very
Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out.
You
a little
can't-
bit. There was a very they left us a
Trump
mess.
will
and
Trump.
Obama would be, I think, the
Trump gonna
first to
Trump.
say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country.
Okay, let's move on to American families.
Trump
and the
gonna
economy.
Trump.
One of the issues that's most important to them is health care, as you both know. Today,
She
there
need to
was a
mute
key
him.
vote on a new Supreme Court
For real.
Justice, Amy Coney Barrett.
She doesn't
and
wanna get-
healthcare
her
is
hair
the
looks
center
good,
of
though.
Her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. First of all, I've already done something. That
I'm about to send you to Walter Reed with my right hook.
The legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. I terminated. It's gone. Now it's in court because Obamacare is no good. But then I made a decision. Run it as well as you can to my people, great people. Run it as well as you can. I could have gone the other route and made everybody very unhappy. They ran it. Premiums are down. Everything's down. Here's the problem. No matter how well you run it, it's no good. What we'd like to do is terminate it. We have the individual mandate done. I don't know that it's going to work. If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run. But it no longer is Obamacare, because without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care, much better, will always protect people.
And what would that be, Trump?
So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up
and
with
then what would you like?
Beautiful health care.
And what beautiful, strong?
Because there'll be tremendous pressure.
Tremendous.
And we might even have the House by that time. And I think we're going to win the House. Okay, you'll see.
So what's the plan, bro?
But come up with a better health care.
What is it?
Always protecting people.
Okay.
With existing
What is it?
And one thing very important: we have 180 million people.
Sounds
out there
great.
that
Tell
have
us what
great
it is.
Private health care. Far more than we're talking about with Obamacare.
What about pre-existing conditions,
Joe Biden
bro?
is going to terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care. People that have been successful, middle-income people, been successful. They have 180 million plans. 180 million people, families. Under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine, he won't even have a choice. They want to terminate 180 million.
You're welcome,
plans.
420
We have done an
artist.
incredible job on
This is
healthcare.
fun.
And we're going to do even better.
Oh, they cut him off.
This is for you, your healthcare plan.
Shut down.
Building on Obamacare. So my question is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option to become Biden-care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled, providing competition for insurance companies. That's what's going to happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices.
Oh, that sounds like a
making
plan,
sure that
guys.
there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I didn't. Not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions. None. Zero. You can't do it in the ether.
Sounds like he's got things inside his head.
He's never come up with a plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan.
Hey, Sean Dene, what do you think about that answer?
17, 18, 19, and 20. The fact, I still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The fact is, over 110 million people with pre-existing conditions, and all the people from COVID are going to have pre-existing conditions. What are they going to do?
Right. Good point. Pre-existing Trump conditions.
Trump said he's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you say to people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes
looks like Biden's wiping the floor with him.
Country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government? What's
I
your
say
response
it's
to that?
ridiculous. It's like saying that, we're the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable healthcare. Opportunity, an opportunity to have healthcare for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight? And that's what I do.
President
Excuse
Trump,
me, he was
your
there
response.
for 47 years. He didn't do it. He was now there as vice president for 8 years, and it's not like it was 25 years ago. It was 3 3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that he wants it. His vice president, I mean, she is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie Sanders wants it.
How
The
long before
Democrats
he
want it.
mentions
You're going
Hillary
to have
Clinton?
Socialized medicine, just like he went with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking. We're going to stop
Biden
fracking. Then
just
he
so
goes to Pennsylvania after he
perplexed
gets a
by the
nomination, where he
idiocy.
got very lucky to get it. And he goes to Pennsylvania.
Come
and he
on,
says,
Biden.
Oh, we're going to have fracking.
We got to vote for
And you
Biden,
never
guys. I
asked
hope you
that
voted.
question. And
Did you guys
by the
vote?
way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this. I have to say.
By the way,
but somebody should ask the question.
You can ask-
He goes for a year. There will be
We
no
have
fracking. there
we
will
do
be
have
no
a number of topics.
Trump trying to
We're
spit
gonna
on
get
Biden
to-
from where he at.
We're gonna get to
It's the
another
same thing
topic.
with socialized
I have to
medicine.
respond.
Vice President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care. Period. Period, period, period. And the Biden care proposal will in fact
That's an
provide
ellipsis.
for that affordable health care, lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your drug prices drop significantly. He keeps talking about it. He hasn't done a thing for anybody.
420
on healthcare.
artist.
Not a
Trump
thing.
is
Very quickly, then I want to
adult.
talk
He says
about
public
Capitol
option.
Hill.
He's talking about
Adult.
socialized medicine. And when he and healthcare. When he talks about a public option, he's talking about destroying your Medicare, totally destroying, and destroying your Social Security. And this whole country will come down. You know, Bernie Sanders tried it in his state. He tried it in his state. His governor.
How
is
long
a
before
very
he
liberal governor. They
he
want to make
mentions
it
Hillary
work.
Clinton?
Let's let Vice President
impossible
Biden.
to
Over
work.
under
It
5
doesn't
minutes.
work.
President
He's
Biden,
a very
your response.
confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden
Oh,
is running
snap.
against.
Oh, that's
And the
good.
idea
That's good.
that we're in a
Ooh,
situation
I got a
that
cold
destroy
I got a cold
Medicare.
sweat from
This
that.
is the guy that the actuary of
chills.
Medicare said, if in fact, at Social Security, if in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on
this
Social
guy's
Security,
confused.
Social Security will be
Tell me about
bankrupt by 2023 with no way to make up for it. This is the guy who's tried to cut Medicare. So no, I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare? Come on.
Ridiculous, preposterous.
He
Come
tried
on,
to
man.
get rid of. He
10 seconds,
tried to
Mr.
hurt
President.
Social Security years ago. Years ago. Go back.
How about
and
I
look at the
lecture
records.
you with a
He
left
tried
and a
to hurt
right
Social
hook, a
Security
jab
years
to the
ago.
nuts?
Let's move
But
on.
this
I'm
is
going
the
to move
guy
on.
that
Let
when
me,
they
Mr.
announced
President, I have to move
last
on to the next question.
They said
or
the
else
stock
we're not
market
gonna
will
have time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock
Just
market
cut
will
his mic.
crash.
Okay,
Cut his
let's
mic.
move on to the
Listen
next
saying that.
question.
Cut both their
Very
mics.
quickly.
Look, the idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in Scranton and Claymont, that people don't live off of the stock market. Just in the last three years during this crisis, the billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall Street, $700 billion more. $700 billion more, because that's his only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there? What happens to them?
Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill. We're going to
Kristen,
move on, gentlemen.
401ks are through the roof.
We're gonna
People's
move on.
stock are through the roof.
All
And
right.
he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like he lived there for a short
We're
period of
gonna-
time before
okay,
he even knew
we're
it.
gonna move on to
and he
the next
left.
question.
And the people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question,
They
gentlemen.
understand.
As of tonight, more than 12 million people are out of work, and as of tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen into poverty.
Million.
And more families are going hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see Washington fighting over a relief bill. Mr. President, why haven't you been able to get them the help
She
they
is
need?
a
30 seconds
woman
here.
of color.
Because Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve it. I do.
But you're the president.
Oh,
But I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House because of her. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to
I
approve
take
anything.
full
because she'd
responsibility
love to have
because
some
Nancy
victories
Pelosi.
on a date called November 3rd. Nancy Pelosi does not want to approve it. We are ready, willing, and able to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including the Democrats, in all fairness. This one she doesn't want. It's near the election because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her politically.
All right, Mr. Vice President,
You know, the Republican leader in the United States.
He's about to
Senate
say
said he
what you
can't
just said.
pass it.
And
He will not be able to pass it. He does not have Republican votes. Why isn't he talking to his Republican friends?
Let me follow up with you, Vice President.
We made it.
I'm a little bit
Because
behind.
Let me ask Vice President Biden a question. You are the leader of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal for the American people?
Well, I have, and they have pushed it. Look, they
Yeah.
passed this act all the way
Ains
back
is-
in the beginning of the summer. This is like it's not new.
Is a
It's been
precog.
out there. This HEROES Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion, I was able to get $145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets and states that have to balance their budgets, so then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement officers, so they can keep their cities and counties running. He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter
The
with
bill
these
that was
guys?
passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats.
This is
cities
terrible.
and states. It was
This
a way
is so
of getting
bad.
a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars to these kids. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We were going to take care of everything for them. And what that
Please
does,
put
and I'd
down
love
your
to do that,
hairpiece.
I'd love to help them. But what that does, everybody
You have
all
10
over the
seconds to
world will start
comply,
pouring into our country.
or I'm gonna
We
cut your
can't do
mic.
it. This was a way of taking care of them. This was a way of spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question. But it was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All
By
right,
the
I
way,
want to.
if I get elected, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States. And folks, every
Bam,
single state
knockout
out
punch.
there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue, cops, firefighters, first responders,
Knockout.
because teachers, because they have to balance their budget.
Knockout.
And the founders were smart.
That's
They
it.
allowed
That's the
federal
quote.
government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
I think
I
that
wanna
line
talk
just
about
got him
the minimum
elected.
Wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses
Yes.
and business
No,
owners.
there's blue
these days.
states.
Do you
Meh.
think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum
I
wage.
do, because I think one of the things we're going to have to do
This
is we're
guy's
going to
out
have
of
to
his
bail
mind.
them out too. We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them. Is not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to
One
immigration,
thing very
but I
quickly,
want
you
to
said
get
we
your
have to help our
reaction.
small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping. I think it should be a state option. Alabama is different than New York. New York is different from Vermont. Every state is different. It should be a state option.
What an
You said
idiot.
very
We have to
recently-
help. It's very important.
Guy sounds dumb.
We have to help our small businesses.
You
How
said-
are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire men
That's
and
the
women.
quote.
You consider raising the
That's the
federal
quote.
minimum wage to
Against
$15
Joe
an hour.
Biden.
You said
I
recently
beat
you would
all those
consider
other
raising
people
the federal
because I
minimum wage to
disagreed
What
with
I
$15 an hour.
really
Is that
like,
still the case?
and I would consider it to an extent, but
In a
what I
second
really like,
administration?
in a second administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, I've lived in different places. I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would
Okay,
be
President
ruinous.
Trump, thank you. Quick
No
response,
one
Vice
should
President
work
Biden.
2 jobs, 1 job, be below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street because they've allowed us to make it. What's happening? They deserve a minimum
Next
wage
topic.
of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're going to talk about
Roll Saul.
immigration.
Oh,
We're gonna talk
great.
about
Immigration.
gentlemen, and we're going to talk
Trump's
about families
favorite.
within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero-tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally.
How about that wall, guys?
How will you reunite these kids with their families?
Let me just tell you,
Mr.
they
President?
built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages.
Ah,
And then they had a picture in a certain
this guy's an idiot.
newspaper. There was a picture of these horrible cages, and they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you
They
have a
built
plan to
cages.
reunite the kids?
Yes,
with
we're
their
working on
families?
it we're trying very
This
hard.
guy.
But a lot of these kids come out without the parents.
Talk about
They
a
come
wall,
out through
man.
cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
It's like talking
Vice
to a
President,
wall.
Let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Big, real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. It makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Good point.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it.
He means
we
it.
changed the policy.
Your response
They
to
did
that?
it.
We
changed.
did not
They built the
separate the
cages.
they-
Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who
we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped, their kids were ripped from their arms and separated. And now they cannot find over 500 sets of those parents, and those kids
That's
are
painful.
alone. Nowhere to go.
He cares.
Nowhere to go.
That's the guy who
It's
cares.
criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen, I'd
you.
love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because you made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact is, I've made
Good
it very
point,
clear.
Vincent, yeah.
Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And all of those so-called dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy and they want to do that.
This guy.
Is they go into a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your parents are taking you across the
He can't imagine
Rio
that.
Grande River.
He has
and it's-
empathy.
and it's illegal. And you say, oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000
Trump
of them are
following
first
Biden's lead right
responders
now.
out there taking care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
President,
Kristen,
don't
he
your
had
reaction.
8 years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've changed without having a
They did.
specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got
you
rid
remember
of
what
a
they were
lot of
elected for
horrible things that
initially,
put in
they
and that they lived with.
overcame
But he
that
had 8
initial
years
challenge.
He was vice president. He did nothing except build cages.
Housing
to keep
crisis,
children
stock
in.
market bailout,
Vice President Biden.
or the
response.
Wall Street bailout.
Catch and release. You know what he's talking about there? If in fact
The-
you had a family.
The economy crashed.
came
They pulled it
across and they were arrested. They in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released, and guess what? They showed up for a hearing. This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump, your response,
so
30
important.
seconds, and then we'll move
It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you
Our
say they come
country.
back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back.
Yeah, I'm a little bit thirsty.
Only the really, I hate to say this, But those with the lowest IQ, they
Okay, President,
I hate to say this. Does he?
We're going to move on to the next
I'll be right
section.
back, guys. I'll leave
Vice
you.
President Biden, your response.
Know the law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
All right,
Here comes the
let's-
Mrs.
But we don't
Body
have to
Head
worry
Morgan
about
Freeman.
it. They terminated it, so we don't have to worry about
Let's
it
move
anymore.
on to the next
And you have
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be and lost their parents.
Go ahead.
All right, let's talk about our next section, which is race in America. And I want to talk about the way Black and brown Americans experience race in this country. Part of that experience is something called the talk. It happens regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do.
I do. Andy
My
Dufresne.
daughter is a social worker, and she's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And you know,
This is
one of the
important
reasons why I ended up
for all of
working
us.
on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. What I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel.
We all
Don't
learn this
reach
as
your
brown
glove
people.
box because someone may shoot you.
We all
But a
learn this
black
as
parent,
brown people.
no matter how wealthy or how poor they are, has to teach their child.
Put your
when you're
keys on
walking
the
down
dashboard.
street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street.
Put your
Making
fists on
sure
the
that
steering
you,
wheel.
In fact, if you get pulled over, yes, yes, sir, no, sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are, in fact, the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person, or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is, there is institutional racism in America.
That's a fact,
and
Jack.
We have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. But guess what? We have never, ever lived up to it. But we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion, not exclusion. This is the first president to come along and says, that's the end of that. We're not going to do that anymore. We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education, better health care, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families.
I'm
Do
waiting
you
for it.
understand why
I'm waiting
these
for the
parents
wind-up.
fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing except in 1994 when he did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them super predators.
No,
and
he didn't.
Said that. He
There's
said
no
super
record
predators,
of that.
and they have never lived that down.
There's literally no
1994,
record of that.
You could reform. Obama and Joe didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture. And everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity
Amazing.
zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the black and Hispanic communities, and then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office, I love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office and they said, I said, what are you doing? After 3 years, I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President Obama
Nobody's
would
done.
never
Hey,
give
guys.
us long-term funding, and I did.
Good thing we had Trump.
10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I say
They
colleges and universities.
Okay, so
They
we're gonna talk about
like
both of
me
your
and I like
your
them.
response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never
Us and them,
ever
man.
said what he accused me of saying. The fact of the matter is, in 2000, though, after the crime bill had been in
I like
the
that he
law for a
doesn't say
while.
it either.
This is the guy
Guys,
who
that's a
said,
stutter. It's not an
"Problem with the
intellectual
crime bill, there's
deficit.
not enough people in jail. There's not enough people in jail." And go on my website, get the quote, the date when he said it. Not enough people. He talked about marauding gangs, young gangs, and the people who are going to maraud our cities. This is a guy who, in the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure
This is true.
they got the death penalty.
After
None of
they
them
were exonerated.
None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested. Look, and talk about
Ridiculous.
Granted, he
Ridiculous.
did in fact let 20 people. He commuted 20 people sentences. We commuted over 1,000 people's sentences. Over 1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that
Unbelievable,
in fact,
guys.
initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here
The
where
black community,
the federal
nobody's
prison
done more.
system was
Good thing we
reduced
got
by
Donald Trump.
38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's why I'm offering $20 billion to states to change their state laws to eliminate minimum mandatories and set up drug courts. No one should be going to jail because they have a drug problem. They should be going to rehabilitation,
Yes.
not to jail. We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
But why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than
Trump's
that?
sweaty.
Why didn't you do it? You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this. But you were
No,
there
you do.
just a short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician.
What a jerk.
I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I
hope Biden doesn't
hope he
catch
does
COVID
vote
from
for me,
him.
because what's happening here is, you know who I am, you know who he is,
Right.
you know his character, you know my character, you know our reputations for honor and telling the truth.
Good
I'm
one.
anxious to have this race. I'm anxious to see this take place. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask you a question, please respond. and then we'll
True.
follow up.
This is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq. If this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody's
Take a look
President
at the
Trump, I
laptop
want to
from
stay
hell.
on the issue of
Excuse me,
race. We're
take a look
talking
at
about the issue.
laptop from hell.
President Trump, we're
Nobody.
talking about race right now. I do
Amazing,
wanna
guys.
stay
This is
on the
amazing.
issue of race. President Trump,
Have you ever seen a man get beaten
Very
There
quickly.
are
in the
50
street
former national
like a rented mule?
who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And
You
that's
gotta be-
exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly what.
This
was
is
told.
where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
QAnon.
go
He's
again
going to
with
pull out some
Russia.
QAnon.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President, you've
that.
Yeah.
described the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired. What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket.
Werner
crying
Herzog takes
like
offense.
bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street. And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people.
all
I
people.
am the least racist person
Is
in
he?
this room.
But what do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know.
and by
I
that
mean, I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark. But I don't care who's in the audience.
I don't care who's there.
Person
I'm just going to say this thing over and over
Vice
again,
President Biden,
and
let
hopefully
me
people
ask you
buy it.
very quickly, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every
He just called him
single
Abraham Lincoln.
racist fire.
Oh my
Every
God.
single one. Started
Amazing.
off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because
can't.
of Muslims.
I can't
And
contain
he moved
myself.
around and made
He just said
everything
Abraham Lincoln
worse
over here.
across the board. He says about the poor boys. Last time we were on stage,
The poor
here, he
boys,
said,
the
I told
Proud
them to
Boys.
stand down and stand ready. Come on. This
Come
guy has a
on,
dog whistle
man.
about as big as a foghorn.
That's a bunch of malarkey, if you ever ask
Made
me.
a reference to Abraham Lincoln.
Look at
Where did
Abraham
that
Lincoln
come
over
in?
here.
I mean,
You said
where
you're
did that-
Abraham
No,
Lincoln.
where did that? No.
You said-
I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm
I didn't
saying-
say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said not.
What an
since
idiot. Doesn't
Abraham
understand
Lincoln
sarcasm.
has anybody
Does
done
not
what I've
understand
done for the
sarcasm.
black community. Now,
That's also
you
a sign
have
of
done
not having
nothing
empathy,
other than
guys,
the
by the
crime
way.
bill, which put
Oh, God.
Yeah,
of
Joe,
black
Biden, we're
men
right there with you, Biden.
mostly in jail.
All right.
Joe, we're
let me-
right there with
let me
you.
ask
Remember it, because if you look at what's happening with the voting rate,
Trump
Let me
doesn't
ask
get
Vice
sarcasm.
President
treated them
About-
very, very badly.
The-
Just
the-
take a look at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s contributed to the incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the consequences. So speak to those families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying
I'm
to
not
change the
Abraham
sense,
Lincoln.
particularly the
I'm
portion on
literally not.
cocaine.
I don't wear a
That's
hat.
why I've been
I don't have a
arguing
beard.
that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment across the board. That's what we should be spending money. That's why I set up drug courts, which were never funded by our Republican friends. They should not be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done, because I think the American people have now seen that, in fact, it was a mistake to pass those laws relating to the drug. But they were not in the crime bill.
But why didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done? That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done because you're all talk and no action, Jim.
We got a lot of it done. We released 38,000. We got
done.
38,000 prisoners left from.
You got nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released from federal prison.
So Trump says you did nothing. Biden lists a bunch of stuff.
In fact, we're the ones.
And then Trump says you did nothing.
We could departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting themselves. I could go on, but we began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm running, to win back that election and change his terrible policy.
I just asked one question. Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. You put tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on
That's
to the
amazing.
next section.
Uh-oh.
We had a Republican Congress.
The answer is that.
That's the answer.
You got to talk them into it, Joe. Sometimes
right.
you got to talk them into it.
You
We're
got
gonna
to
move
talk
on
him
to our
into it.
next section,
Like I
which
did with
is
criminal
climate
justice
change.
reform. I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen, we're running out of time, so we got to get on to climate change, please. You both have very different visions on climate change. President Trump, you say that
That's kind of a weak answer for Biden, sorry.
Jobs in the energy sector.
Yeah, you gotta
Vice
talk him
President
into it,
Biden,
Joe.
You have said you see addressing
But
climate
whatever.
change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or
We got
means,
7
but I
more
have
minutes
heard
of this
Obama use it.
nonsense.
And we have the best carbon emission numbers that we've
This
had
actually
in
resembles a
35
debate.
years under this administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia.
See, that's
Look
like
at
dog whistly
India.
racism
It's
stuff.
Filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend
Dare call them S-hole
trillions of
countries?
dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris
I'm gonna
Accord.
knock
It
you
was
right
so unfair.
about that
China
head,
doesn't
face, and
kick
neck
in
area.
until 2030. Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many, many years.
Oh, okay.
Vice President
We
Biden.
haven't destroyed our industries.
Vice President Biden,
Amazing,
2
guys.
minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate change, climate warming, global warming is an existential threat to humanity. We have a
Good point, Jen
moral
the Fierce. He
obligation.
loves the environment. He loves women. Doesn't mean he
We're
treats them
told by
well.
all the
That's
leading
true.
scientists in the world,
He also doesn't
we
know the
don't
meaning of
have
love.
Much time. We're going to pass the point of no return within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit the limit of emissions, will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble. Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan. Because what it does, it will create millions of new good
Millions.
jobs. We're going to invest in, for example, 50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where
Where are
we're
you gonna
going
put
to
the
see to
electricity
it
inside
that
the
we're going
car?
to take 4 million
You're gonna need
existing
fracking.
buildings and 2 million existing homes.
You're gonna need coal
and
miners.
retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to
Millions.
clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan
Millions.
will
Oh, yeah.
in fact create
Millions.
18.6
Cheers, 420
million
hours.
jobs, 7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street.
Million.
And I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth
Coffee.
than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, you're
They came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan, that his plan is an economic disaster.
3 minutes of this
if you
nonsense.
look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan, his
Nothing to do with
environmental
climate.
plan, you know who developed it? AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows
But
nothing about the climate.
Joe
And
just
they're
getting a
all
kick out of the
hopping through
idiocy.
hoops For AOC +3. Look,
I hope Joe doesn't
plan
catch no
costs
COVIDs
$100 trillion.
from the air.
If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says
really hope-
buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far
People
as
get
they're
upset by
concerned, if you have
AOC
no
because she's a
window, it would be
lady
lovely
of
thing.
color
This is the
who has an
craziest plan
opinion
that anybody
and
has
has
ever seen.
authority,
And this wasn't
and they
done by
cannot stand that.
Smart people. This wasn't
They
done
can't
by
take it.
Anybody, frankly, I don't even know how it could be good politically. They want to
They
spend
can't
$100
deal with
trillion
Kamala Harris, a
dollars.
white guy.
You'll
That's
destroy our country.
So
the
let's hear
problem
from the
in
Vice
general.
President. I have a number more questions.
I don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
Queens.
$100 trillion. Give me a break. This plan was this
The
is
adult in
planned
the
to
room
work for
speaks.
Every major environmental group and every labor group. Labor, because they know the future lies. The future lies in us being able to breathe, and they know there are good jobs in getting us there. And by the way, the fastest growing industry in America are is the solar energy and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer, windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, 45, 50 bucks an hour. We can grow and we can be cleaner if we go the route I'm proposing.
President Trump, please respond, and then I have to follow.
I don't know why she keeps letting him go.
We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight.
We don't
war
need all
over
of
because
these
we needed their
countries.
energy. We are energy independent.
We're
I know
energy
more about
independent.
wind than you do. It's extremely expensive. Kills all the
I know more
birds.
about-
It's very intermittent. It's got a lot of
Here comes-
problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both.
Can we
Germany
please
and
shut this
China.
idiot
And
down?
the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emissions,
Guys, we've got a week and a half.
The fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that
I'm
we're
anxious.
talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a scientist
Solar.
that said that.
I love solar. But solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories.
Beautiful,
that we need to
strong,
compete
beautiful,
with the
strong,
world.
beautiful,
So,
strong.
It's all a pipe dream.
He's got all the
But
best
you know
words.
What we'll do? We're going to have the greatest economy in the world.
The greatest.
But if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
All right, let me.
What the frack are you talking about?
Vice President
I
Biden to
have
respond.
never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on
the website. The fact of the matter is
Yes.
lying.
Yes.
I do
Yes.
rule out anti-fracking because the answer we need. we
Amazing.
need
He just
other
called him out.
Industries to transition to
That's
get
so
to
good.
ultimately
So good to watch
complete
Donald
zero
Trump
emissions by
get told to sit
2025.
down.
What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money and doing it. But it's a transition to that.
I have one more question in this pod, and then
Excuse me,
we have.
he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow.
What the frack are they
I
talking
am
about?
against
I
fracking.
imagine it's
Until he got
over
the nomination, went to
by now,
Pennsylvania,
but
then he
I
said,
got like
"But
3
you know
more
what,
minutes, I guess.
Pennsylvania, he'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it.
Fracking on federal land, I said. No fracking
You said
and or
fracking.
oil
You
on
didn't say
federal
Let
land.
me ask this
I
final
did.
question in this section, and then I want to move on.
I've
to
got
our
a
final
whole
section.
on Twitter. I've got
President Trump,
0
people of color
viewers.
Are much more likely to live near oil refineries,
Zero.
and chemical plants in Texas.
We're doing
there are
great,
families
guys.
Who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they are making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater, the percentage gain, than it was under, in 3 years, than it was under 8 years of the 2 of them, to put it nice. Say what you want about relationship. We got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All
And
right.
everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, you're.
Delaware. And all the more oil
Is Joe
refineries
Biden from
in
Delaware?
Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turning the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutions the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close
It
down?
falls- It falls.
Would you close down the
By
oil
the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes. I
Oh,
would
that's a big
transition.
statement.
It is a big statement
That's a big
because
statement.
I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
Yeah,
Here's
that's
the
true.
deal, but
That's
you
a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me finish
It
the
is a statement.
because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time.
Yes.
Over time.
Good
And I'd
point.
stop giving
Eventually,
to
right?
The oil industry,
Why can't
I'd
we
stop
start
giving them
doing
federal
this?
subsidies. He won't give federal subsidies to the gas. Excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All
give it
right.
to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay,
Because
we have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy
One file.
the
Cut his
oil
mic.
industry. Will you remember
The
that,
oil
Texas?
industry.
Will you
Okay.
remember that Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you
Good,
10 seconds
good,
to respond, and then I
good.
have to
Shut
get
him
to the
up.
final question. Vice President Biden.
it takes everything out of context. But the point is, look, we have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production, by 2050 totally.
All right. One
Is he going to
final
get
question
China to
both
do
of
it?
you. No, we're
China.
finishing
Is he
this. We
going
have
to
move
get
on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question. We have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our
rejoin
final
She
the
is
Accord to make China
wrangling
buy
them in.
what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
cost you
is
$1
about
trillion.
leadership, gentlemen. And this first question
She's-
does go to you,
she's
President Trump. Imagine
authoritative.
This is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each have 1 minute, starting with you, Mr.
We have to make our country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best black unemployment numbers in the history of our country. Hispanic, women, Asian, people with diplomas, with no diplomas, MIT graduates, #1 in the class. Everybody had the best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together. We are on the road to success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks
Is that a
will
threat?
go to hell, and it'll be a very, very sad day for this country.
All right.
Really?
Vice
He's just
President
talking about
Biden,
money.
Same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president. I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction.
Gonna be a president.
We're going to choose hope over fear. We're going to choose to move forward because we have enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism. And at the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating millions of new jobs.
Millions.
And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I...
November 3rd, don't forget to vote.
Don't
Thank you,
forget
everyone,
to
and
vote,
have a
please.
great
She's
night.
like, get this guy. You're going to catch COVIDs. Thank you, guys. Y'all are wonderful. This half hour's worth of show. And Jen, don't worry. You don't have to edit the whole thing. Maybe just the first hour. So this was fun. Hey, Veronica. Yeah, we were here the whole time, Veronica. Good to see you. Thank you for showing up. We were watching. Where's this dude's mask? Guys, I've got the coolest masks. Oh, they got the coolest masks, guys. Just wear a mask. Be careful. Be safe out there. Man, oh man, what a debate that was. Of course, I think he's a super duper stupid person who only ever cares about himself, and he's very useful to evil people. So evil people want to keep Donald Trump in power all over the world because it benefits them, because he has one setting, and that setting is, quote, me. He has only one setting, and that's the setting that he will always ever function on. Do not make any mistake that you can talk sense into Donald Trump. You cannot. All he cares about is what is in it for me. So we got to take the country back, guys. Take the country back a week from Tuesday. Hopefully you've... yeah, he's educated way beyond his intelligence. He's got no intelligence ever. There's nothing left. Maybe they know that they can bribe him easily. He's sitting there accusing Biden of all of this stuff is obviously wrong. So there's science confronts. Listen, I was in a relationship like this. Okay, you can't fix it. It won't fix. People are just broken, and you got to run away from those types of situations. We got to run away from a Stockholm syndrome that we are currently in. There are so many people in this country that like Donald Trump because he's a disruptor and he's just an anarchist. It's really funny to me when Trump is like, law and order, and he's the most anarchical president ever. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to see you tomorrow.
We're going to come up with a topic. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, drop it in the Discord. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. I'm Aristotle, full throttle, your bro with the fro, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night, guys. Good one. Good one. Good talk. Good show. Good fun.